when we come to look at alcohol, alcohol has been part and parcel of the history of mankind. That since time immemorial, alcohol has been part of the merrymaking of mankind. Many emperors, many leaders, many of the great legendary warriors would indulge in alcohol because to them it would raise their spirits. Therefore you would find that in many of the empires in history, empires such as the Greek Empire, such as the Roman Empire, such as the Persian Empire, many of the emperors would encourage that whenever they had an invitation of great leaders, that they would encourage alcohol to be served. And that's why you find in the world today that in virtually every country, alcohol is either served in a bar or a pub or a nightclub. Why? Because many communities cannot survive without the drink of alcohol. That's why you find some people who say that without alcohol I cannot have a good night. I need to have alcohol in order to enjoy myself. Of course, whether they remember anything of that night or no is a different question. But how you enjoy something which at the end you do not necessarily remember, only they know. Yet you'll find many communities which will come forward and say that alcohol is an integral feature. That's why the religion of Islam, when it looked at alcohol, from the outset it spoke about the buying of alcohol, the selling of alcohol, the production of alcohol. Not to say that there are not Muslim countries which sell alcohol. No. There are certain Muslim countries in the Middle East which sell more alcohol than their Western counterparts. And that they actually enjoy the production and the buying and the selling. But that the religion of Islam originally was a religion which came and prohibited alcohol for three different reasons. The first reason the religion of Islam prohibited alcohol was a social reason, was a spiritual reason. Why? Because spiritually, when you look at the human being, the key mechanism for a human being to reach faith is reason. Without reason, the human being does not get to the highest levels of faith, as in reason is that which tells us about the difference between right and wrong, good and bad, the healthy and the not so healthy. Reason acts as a father in relation to the faculties of the self of the human being. Why? Because we see that the faculties of the self of the human being are four: reason, anger, imagination, and desire. Reason acts as a father to the other three, in the sense that sometimes our imagination wanders in a place it shouldn't. Our desires wander in a place they shouldn't. Our anger goes towards a level it shouldn't. The father figure for these three is reason. As in reason acts in looking after these three in order that there is equilibrium in the self of the human being. Alcohol inhibits reason. And the moment alcohol inhibits reason, you find that anger can reach a level where you're willing to kill someone. Your desires may reach a level where you're willing to rape someone. And your imagination may reach a level where you're willing to push away anyone that comes towards you. And that's why you found that our sixth Imam talks about God speaking of a house of sin. He says, God says of the house of sin that every house has a door, and every door has a lock, and every lock has a key, and the key to all sin is alcohol. That whenever you look at any sin, you'll find that the key behind it was alcohol. That's why a man came to our fifth Imam and said to him, an atheist said to him, why is it that Islam prohibits alcohol? The Imam replied, because alcohol inhibits reason. Alcohol blocks off your reason. And therefore the Imam went on to say that because it inhibits your reason, it may lead you to commit adultery, and it may lead you to miss your prayer. As in, how many cases do you hear in the world when you see on many of these television programs that a person commits adultery? They say to him, why? He says, I drank too much that night. Therefore you found that drinking that alcohol inhibited their reason. As soon as it inhibited their reason, they went on to commit sins. That's why you find it's ironic that in the Bible there are two contradictory passages. In Proverbs chapter 23, you'll find it saying, do not associate with the people of alcohol. Why? Because when you associate with them, spiritually you lose touch with the world. Spiritually your soul becomes decayed. And then before that in the Bible it says Prophet Nuh was a drunkard in the vineyards. 1 minute there is a passage saying don't associate. Then there is a passage which says Prophet Nuh alayhi salam in the Bible, he was a drunkard in the vineyard. And that's why when those who come and say, how do we know the Quran is not a copy of the Bible? This is one of the proofs. Because the Prophet Nuh in the Quran, would he be a drunkard? Would Prophet, or any Prophet of God for that matter, Sixth Imam says the Prophets of God, one of their main aims when they came to any community was number one, make them worship God. Number two, prohibit alcohol. Why? Because a community which has alcohol is a community which is spiritually decayed, number one. Number two, Islam prohibited alcohol for the second reason, which was because it affects you physically. Physically, in the same way you have a soul to protect, you have a body which you must protect as well. When it comes to the body of the human being, alcohol damages different areas of the physical body. Number one, it damages the brain. Number two, it affects the production of white blood cells, which means that diseases will come easier towards the human being. Number three, it affects the liver of the human being. Number four, the kidneys of the human being. Number five, the hearts of the human being. Number 6 and 7, it affects your eyesight and it affects your senses generally. That's why in how many countries do you find there are campaigns to stop drunk drivers? Why? How many innocent children a year, how many innocent mothers and fathers die because of a drunk driver? That I'm sure many of us in this hall today have heard cases in this country of someone who was drunk. When they were driving, they caused damage to the community because they killed one member. You find here that when somebody starts to lose their eyesight and their senses generally, it inhibits them in a way where what happens? What happens is that they may kill another human being. Therefore you found on a second level physically, although some people do come up to us and say, a little bit of whiskey isn't bad. Why? Because they say it will help the heart. Don't worry about it, we'll just have a little. See, I have a very close friend of mine, Dr. Ja'fari in New Jersey, one of the most renowned doctors in America, who can show you a series of studies where alcohol does not help the heart of the human being. You see, Ibn Abi Azur once came to our 6th Imam. When he came to him, he said, "Oh 6th Imam, I have severe pain. And the best thing to alleviate this pain which I have is a bit of a drink on the side." He said to him, "Oh Imam, whenever I have that bit of a drink, the pain goes away." At this moment, the 6th Imam, he looked at him and he said, "What do you want me to do?" He said, "What's your advice?" The 6th Imam said to him, "Do not drink alcohol, for alcohol is one of the arrows of shaitan. That when he sees you wanting in a certain state of pain, he'll encourage you to go and drink alcohol. However, if you are strong enough to keep away from alcohol, shaitan will leave you." Ibn Abi Azur narrates, "I went back to Kufa." He says, "When I went back, I came back, what did I see? I came back, many of my fellow family would say me, 'Drink, drink, you are in pain.'" He said, "I remember what the 6th Imam said." He said, "I decided I will not drink. I'll keep away from alcohol." He said, a few days later, the pain completely went away. And he said, not only did it go away, it never came back to me again. Therefore, the second reason was a physical reason. The third reason Islam prohibited alcohol was a social reason. Why? Because Islam, as a religion, seeks to protect 5 areas in your life. It seeks to protect one's property. It seeks to protect one's honor. It seeks to protect one's intellect. It seeks to protect one's life. And it seeks to protect one's religion. Therefore, Islam seeks to protect 5 areas. Meaning what? Meaning that in any society, you want your property and your intellect and your honor and your life and your religion to be protected. When these 5 are protected, the society is healthy. However, you find alcohol can destroy all of these 5. How many properties were damaged because of an alcoholic walking past the property? How many of a woman's honor was damaged because of an alcoholic seeing her and wanting her? How many of our intellects were damaged because of alcohol? How many lives were taken because of alcohol? How many religions were damaged because of leaders who drank? I remember Walid ibn al-Yazid, one of the Khulafa of Bani Umayyah, socially, do you know what he used to enjoy? His swimming pool. made of alcohol. The whole pool was alcohol. He used to jump in the pool and say, why do I need normal water when the alcohol can satiate my thirst? If accidentally I gulp some of the water, it would be alcohol within my stomach. You find that this Khalifa of Bani Umayyah socially was leading the Ummah while